What's going on, friends? It's Anton Daniels, and I gotta have a conversation with you guys about Teach Hanley because you see how the sun is hitting me. This is no finesse, no makeup, no filters, no none of that. This is 100% Teach Hanley. I use it in the morning as soon as I get up, right after I pray and brush my teeth, jump in the shower, and I'm hitting the streets because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So even though they're giving you 40% off your first order, 20% off for life, even though you may get a free gift, forget all that, right? Because we would do this even if it was full price because it's worth that much. I'm in the streets, I'm kicking it with people, and I see Dusties everywhere. You don't want to be them. You want to separate yourself. And the way that you separate yourself is self care. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. I'm about to hit the streets right now, and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I mean, I already got confidence, but to have that extra boost of confidence, knowing that you've taken care of yourself and you set yourself apart from all of the rest of the sheep that's walking around making bad decisions on a daily basis. And it's reflected in their actions. It's reflected in the products that they use. It's reflected in the people that they follow. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to make sure that you look good, they're going to send you the pack. They're going to give you all of the instructions on how you're supposed to use it. Then make sure you get your Teach Hanley. Again, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get your free gift. Make sure you tap in with your boy Anton Daniels because Unc is never going to lead you wrong. I would never have you use a product that I don't use myself. Again, they've been rocking with me for a long time. Make sure you get your Teach Hanley. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. What's going on is what's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I'm your host, Anton Daniels. What up, 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 what up? What up, friends and family? I appreciate y'all for continuing to tune in to what we got going on over here. It was a great show last night. Great show. We got great things coming to you guys, and I'm very excited to do the show with you. I'm a little bit late, and I'm going to tell you why. Probably second, third thing that I do this morning is I'm going to tell you a little bit why we starting later than usual. But it was mainly because I got into it with a bunch of black men today prior to coming here. I went to go pick up breakfast, stopped at the Pancake House over in Southfield, got engaged in a conversation because a guy recognized me, and it was a bunch of black men that was sitting at a round table, probably about 12 of them, 10, 12 of them at least. And they start trying to read me the riot act as a result of not voting for Kamala Harris. But we going to get there. We going to get there. My life is very interesting. I mean, very interesting. So, yeah, I had to read them the riot act and push the show back a little bit, but we here today. We here. What up, what up? Happy birthday to everybody that's in the chat. Happy birthday. What up? I see y'all. What's going on? Yeah, we gonna get there. It's getting ugly. Oh, man, I just can't believe what is happening out here in these streets. But before we get started with the show, I want to acknowledge my co-hosts of the show, the chat. Give a round of applause for yourselves. To everybody that's engaged in what we got going on here on the Millionaire Morning Show, I want to say that I appreciate you. I love you. And shout out to ESDC on Cash App. What up? Shout out to Mike, that dude. I appreciate you, big dog. Thank you also. There's a sector of YouTube vocal about you. A sector of YouTube vocal about who? Who? Anton from AntonDaniels.com? Let me look it up. Let me see what's happening. A sector of YouTube that is vocal about Ton Dog. Oh, yep, you are right. You are right. There is a sector of YouTube that have I become really that relevant, honestly? Seriously. Have I become relevant enough for people to actually care about what Anton from AntonDaniels.com thinks? You guys care about me? Oh, I am so yo, it's people that I It's people that I'll get there. I'll get there. We'll talk about it. There is a sector of YouTube that is dedicated to me. Wow, I didn't know that. Huh. I like it. I like it. I like what we got going on here. It looks like everything is working perfectly in God's order. Anyways, let me acknowledge a couple of the super chats, and we're going to get there. Are y'all ready? Are y'all girded up? Y'all girded up? Y'all ready to go to war? I told y'all we was only at the tip of the iceberg. For those of y'all that's been rocking with me for a long time, I told you that we were only at the tip of the iceberg. But it's so much more to come. It's so much more to come. And I hope y'all ready. I hope y'all riding with me. I hope y'all bag chasers and y'all tapped into the Patreon. I hope y'all subscribe to this channel and the channels that we rocking out with. I hope you hit a like for the algorithm as your admission into the show today. And I hope y'all coming to pull up to kick it with me in Atlanta. I might even have a special guest or two to come through. So get your tickets to Atlanta, Detroit, and we're going to rock out. I hope y'all ready. Seriously, listen, man. Before we get into the show, I'm going to read that super chat shortly. Are y'all ready to engage? I see my ladies, Mama Joe's, Azriel, Artifacts, Kate Cooper, High Tolerance, Emma. So y'all ready, right? So y'all know what's about to happen. You know that life is about to go 100 miles an hour, but the reason that we did it slowly at first before we start getting the traction, the real traction, my core is what it is. It's tight. It's tight to death. My core, the thing that made me who I am, and the reason why I never change, regardless of the level of exposure, is because I developed the character before I started getting to the money. And then when I got to the money, I started getting to the fame. And when I started getting to the fame, it started bothering people because nobody can say that they've ever issued me a check to give my opinion. So I hope y'all ready. And for those that's been rocking with me for a long time, you know that I am the same way that I've been since I tapped in on YouTube. I got the same demeanor, might be a little bit more polished, the same conversations, might be a little bit better at communicating effectively, but I'm the same person. I don't look at people as fans. I look at them as friends. And so when you see me in the street, say, what up, though? You going to be at the Atlanta show? I like that. I like that. So listen, it's going there. It's going there. You're going to see hate, love, people come at you, people try to come at me. And it's okay, because that's what we prepared ourselves our whole lives. We prepared ourselves for this moment right here, right now. This is only the beginning. This is the tip of the iceberg. You know where my trajectory is. You know where this show is going. You know where my visibility is going. But I'm always going to be me. I'm always going to be the core. And I'm always going to remember the people like y'all that has always been rocking with me from the beginning, not these fair weather people that's going to come on board after they see us getting more visibility. It's us against the world. It's me and you against the world. It's righteousness. It's against the devil. It's light against darkness. And we're not going to let anything and anyone get in our way. We ain't changed. We got the same sentiment. We got the same demeanor. We got the same bag chasers, and we're going to run it up. So if y'all not a part of the Discord, the link to the Discord is in the description of any of the most recent videos inside of the chat. Know that it's about to get real hectic out in these streets. This is just the beginning. If you thought that this was it, stick around. Trust me, it's going to get busy. Let me read some of the super chats, and then we're going to go ahead and get it popping, y'all. We ready. We prepared for this moment. We don't care nothing about that. It's my birthday, chapter 43. I was first in line this morning to fulfill my civic duty and vote. Thank you to the Millionaire Morning Show. Thank you to the Millionaire Morning Show every morning, AD. I love you, Bag Chaser, for life. Can we get a happy birthday to Sabrina? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sabrina. Happy birthday to you. Shout out to Sabrina, chapter 43 in the building. I love my ladies. Jason A-Team says, good morning. Don't be them dusty dusties. Laughing my A off. Hope everyone have a great productive day. Thank you, Anton, for teaching us new things every day. I got you. Casting my vote for Donald J. Trump yesterday. Shout out to my dog, ABJ's wise, strong, and smooth. Miss Crow T. Shetty in the building. Thank you for being the number one friend. AR Smitty says, gotta slide to the Birmingham original next time, Tom Dog. I usually go to the Birmingham one. Sometimes I even go to Grosse Pointe, but Southfield was on the way into the studio today, so that's what I did. Just placed my vote today. Thanks to your show, I was informed nationally, but there's more work to do. Look, shout out to my people. I love y'all. My girl Mika in the building says, started from the bottom. Stay great, AD. I never forget where I came from. And my girl Mika is going to be right there next to me the whole way because I'm loyal. And I take care of the people that take care of me, including y'all that's in the chat. Y'all ready to get started with the show? Let's get these quick hits out the way so we can get to the core of the show, all right? Quick hits. Quick hits is a segment of the show that we don't necessarily think that we need to dedicate an entire segment to each individual thing, but we definitely want to keep y'all in the loop on what's going on out in these streets, man. All right? First things first. Man shot by his neighbor in Minneapolis, home of 10 walls. Check it out.
This was the shocking moment caught on camera. Video obtained by our NBC affiliate KARE 11 shows David Matori trimming a tree outside his Minneapolis home Wednesday when, according to court documents, a bullet was fired from his neighbor's upstairs window.
The bullet went down through my neck and then all the way back to my spine.
Matori told NBC affiliate KARE 11 he's also recovering from broken ribs and a concussion. Adding, the last 11 months since he and his wife moved in, they've been living a nightmare next door to John Shawshak. Court documents show the victim called police 19 times prior to the shooting for incidents including harassment, hate speech, and verbal threats. It also says Shawshak suffers from mental illness. Shawshak has been charged with attempted murder, but he is not in jail. Police allowing him to stay in his home because they say he's a threat to himself and others.
Do you see how demonic and devolved society has become? Look at that house. That is the house of horrors. In Tim Wall's state over in Minneapolis, he can literally snipe his neighbor. He sniped him through his window. He's living in this place right here.
Not in jail. Police allowing him to stay in his home.
He's living in this place right here. He sniped his neighbor through his window. He's being charged with attempted murder, and he's able to stay at his home and chill while he's awaiting trial. Are y'all seeing how devolved? Listen, this is in Tim Wall's state, so I don't expect anything less than chaos and confusion. He is living at this bando and chilling while he's awaiting trial for attempted murder because he may be a harm to himself. What?
Because they say he's a threat to himself and others.
The likelihood of an armed, violent confrontation where we may have to use deadly force with the suspect in this case is high.
Do you see how the Minneapolis police, let me be quiet.
Where we may have to use deadly force with the suspect in this case is high.
That excuse sparking community outrage.
We have to take violent criminals off the street. So I'm not a police officer. I don't know how that gets done, but I know it needs to get done.
Police say Shawshak rarely leaves his home, and the department has not set an arrest date.
We are not going to bust the door down, guns blazing, and get into a deadly force situation, but we will ensure the community will be safe.
Matori says he feels the Minneapolis Police Department failed to protect his family by not arresting his neighbor when they needed them most.
If you're saying you're scared, what does that do to me, you know? Like, you have this body armor, you have professional training.
Dana Griffin, NBC News.
It's just the quick hits. This is just the quick hits. It's going to be a heck of a show today. Make sure you send this to your family and friends and tell them to engage. Now, next story, I definitely want to keep y'all up to date on what's going on in Chicago because just as predicted, like I told you over the last year and a half, expect for costs to go up, not just with your groceries, not just when it comes to your rent, but also expect your property taxes to go up. So I got to keep y'all up to date on what's going on and what proposed changes are about to happen, even though they ran against this.
Tomorrow at City Hall, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson plans to lay out how he'll close a huge, nearly $1 billion budget gap.
And our Charlie DeMar is live tonight telling how his plans could cause your finances to take a hit. Charlie?
And Joe and Erica, some aldermen say they have been briefed on the budget address that Mayor Brandon Johnson will give here at City Hall tomorrow morning. Others say they are still in the dark and won't find out until the mayor lays it all out. Regardless, the mayor will need more than 25 of those aldermen to get on board and help him pass his budget.
I'm not going to raise property taxes. That's been the lazy form of governance for a very long time.
How so much can change in just 18 months. Mayor Brandon Johnson ran on a promise of not raising property taxes. Wednesday, Johnson is expected to announce a significant tax increase to Chicago property owners.
There's just not an appetite for a property tax increase.
Alderman Timmy Knutson's 43rd Ward in Lincoln Park says his residents already face high property taxes, which will continue to rise with the current reassessment. Now, with a property tax increase on the table, all homeowners could be asked to take on even more.
Naturally, we need to figure out where we can make cuts to bring the budget back to closer to where it was before the pandemic.
The mayor's budget will seemingly avoid a clash with labor and won't reduce city staff.
This is a moment for burden sharing.
Joe Ferguson, president of the Civic Federation, says the pain of balancing the budget should be felt by everyone. Furloughs and eliminating vacancies are just some of the solutions he's proposed.
Do you hear what they're saying to you? They're telling you that everybody needs to share in the pain of what y'all celebrated and y'all voted. I guess they're right, because you guys have voted for them. And I keep telling y'all need to get rid of these Democrats. Y'all need to get rid of the old guard. I'm going to tell you all about the old guard later on today when we really deep dive into this show. They're telling you guys to share in the pain for the decisions that they made on your behalf, to let migrants in, to get rid of the police, to remove ShotSpotter, and to go against every single thing that y'all want inside of y'all state and y'all city. And so now you guys are going to have to pay for it. I told you from the very beginning. I said, listen, I know y'all think that y'all doing the right thing by staying on code, but you're the one that's going to pay the prices for it. I know that y'all think that, going out here and giving out all of these social services, well, guess what? It's going to be extended to people that's not even a part of the United States of America. And guess what? You're the ones that's going to pay for it. You know who pays all of this stuff? Because let's say hypothetically I lived in Chicago. Let's say that the Millionaire Morning Show was not done in Detroit and it was being done over in Chicago, okay? If we in this Republic of the United States of America decide as a collective that we want to vote out of ignorance, or we don't want to show up to the polls for the thing that's in our own best interest, and you guys decide that you guys want to vote for Brandon Johnson and Lori Lightfoot and all of these people to sell your streets and to bring in these migrants to become sanctuary cities, and then they want to continue to hype up your property taxes to where you can't even afford to live in a city, which then allows for the city to decline because it's basically going the way of Detroit did back in 2004, 5, 6, 7, and 8, since the 80s when they had white flight, and then that translated over into y'all basically having a predominantly black and colored city, who then allowed for your school districts and your streets and your neighborhoods and the police officers and everything to just go to complete hell. Guess what I can do if I was a Chicago resident? I can go and move closer to the people that actually aligns with my values. I can go and move and I won't be affected, because guess what? I'm just going to sit and wait as an investor for all of y'all to lose your homes, get kicked out of your homes, for the values and the property values to continue to go down. That way I can come in and capitalize off of your pain and then re-gentrify it and make a whole bunch of money as a result of it, while at the same time ensuring that my family, we don't suffer ever, ever, ever. The people that are at the top, we try to convince you to do the best thing in your best interest because we just care for you, but you are the ones that's suffering as a result of your own demise and your own bad decisions and your own uninformed decisions, your own opportunities that you then let go forth, and you want to be on code and you don't want to vote and participate because you don't think that you're going to be affected. Well, guess what? Now your property taxes is going to be 100% higher than they was 2 years ago prior to this man getting in office. And they was already high from incompetent leadership before. You deserve this. You deserve it. Look at him. Look at him. Jesus Christ. Last but not least, A teen was killed. The brother and the mother was injured in a triple shooting over in New York. Check it out. So dumb. This is so dumb.
Domestic situation that turned deadly, and tonight the man police say did it is now in custody.
40-year-old Fernando Jimenez now accused of shooting a woman and 2 kids. One teenager is now dead, the second teen in critical condition.
The gun insanity sparked shelter-in-place orders in Westchester County and shut down schools in the Putnam Valley as cops tried to find Mr. Jimenez.
Now the investigation into how this happened and why. Marcus Solis is live in the town of Somers. Marcus?
Well, Shanae and Bill, the New York State Police Crime Scene Unit continues to process this scene. They have been going at it all afternoon, but an even bigger police presence in that manhunt that took place through the night and ended with the suspect's capture 7 miles away. The manhunt ended around 11 this morning. The suspect in custody with bites from a police dog to his arm and leg. Fernando Jimenez, wanted for a triple shooting that left a teenager dead, was found hiding in a realtor's office. The owner noticed something amiss when she arrived for work.
When I saw the blinds were down, which we never put blinds down all the way, and the air conditioner out of the window, I came over to the troopers on the corner and I said, I think he's inside.
Patricia Schiller had good reason to trust her gut. She's a retired NYPD detective. Her instincts helped catch the man police had been searching for in Putnam Valley all night. A 5-mile stretch of Peekskill Hollow Road was shut down, forcing the closure of schools in the district and raising concern among residents.
I work in Manpack, and they were getting warnings there, so it really made me nervous knowing that my wife and my child was home alone, especially right around the corner. That's why I rushed to come home, and I couldn't even make it through. They wouldn't let me go through, and you just got to let the police do their job.
I'm wondering the same thing, David.
The 40-year-old suspect is accused of shooting a woman believed to be his girlfriend and her 2 kids last night in a second-floor unit at the Crossroads at Baldwin Place, an apartment complex in Somers.
A lot of bangs, but didn't think it was gunshots.
This woman lives next door to the victims of what's being called an act of domestic violence. The nature of the dispute remains unclear.
I'm very shaken by this. I'm just sad. I mean, I don't know what to say. I'm just...
Shooting your baby mama or shooting your girlfriend who you then agreed to be a step baby daddy and they 2 kids.
I'm sorry that this happened.
So again, a 10th grade boy who's the victim in this has died of his injuries. His brother, an 8th grader, remains in critical condition. Their mother in stable condition at Westchester Medical Center. The suspect, Fernando Jimenez, awaiting arraignment.
I told y'all to go back with y'all child's father, but y'all didn't want to listen to me. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the quick hits. All right. Let's go ahead and read these super chats and let's get into the thick of the show. If y'all haven't sent this to y'all friends and family yet, you in for one. You in for a good show today. I'm just telling you, I'm feeling it today. Don Drell, Lee Artis says, appreciate you. I appreciate you too, Don Drell. Thank you. Brambo says, we weren't black in 2020. Now we are garbage. Noted. Cartier, 82, says, you definitely gave old girl Honey some grace. Didn't I? So in Minnesota, I can play a hitman mission on my neighbor and get a retry when I fail to and the dude's supposed to go back. Shout out to Mr. Torrell. I appreciate you for holding me down. Thank you. Says, wife is divorcing me and taking my kids from me because I am not voting for Kamala. That's okay because I know God is removing riffraff from my life. I'm not worried about my kids because I know the spirit of truth is with them. That's tough. Your wife, hold on. Wait a minute. Stop it and let's put some logic up in it. Your wife is divorcing you and taking your kids from you because you're not voting for Kamala. What in the world is happening in Carmen, San Diego? Oof. What? Well, I will tell you this. If that was all it took to push her over the edge, she wasn't even with you in the first place. She probably already on her way out the door. She done probably moved on anyway. So, man, that's tough. Send me an email, AntonDaniels413@gmail.com. Shout out to my dog, C. Will, in the building. What up, Anton? Bag Chasers and the Millionaire Morning Show. I voted this Saturday for Trump. Love it. And I wanted you to know that your knowledge and integrity to the people is greatly appreciated. Shout out to C. Will and all of the people that decided that they wanted to make an informed decision for themselves and not because an informed decision. My job is to inform you. Your job is to make a decision that's best for your family. Shout out to C. Will. How confident in you and Trump winning next week? I'm very confident. I'm incredibly confident. Unless Jonathan Gonzalez, we get a situation where they decide that they want to burn the ballot boxes. I'm glad that you asked that question, because what's happening on the local level as well as what's happening on the national level should not be ignored. Now, I know my guy, Eric D., who's a resident chat, my resident chat liberal, is in the chat. He'll tell you that he's independent, but don't believe it. Eric D. is 100% liberal. He's 100% a Democrat. He's probably voted that way his entire life. We know this, all right? But my resident chat friend, Eric D., who's been here a long time with me and been rocking out with what we got going on, well, he will tell you and say, well, y'all just scared that the Republicans are going to lose. You just scared. You don't want to face the facts that it's a possibility that he's going to lose. When it comes to election interference, I believe that there has been election interference all the way up into the White House. That is my belief. That is my belief. I believe that there's many forms of election interference, including Fani Willis and Andre Dickens meeting with the Vice President of the United States of America at the White House, which it is public information and on the White House logs, prior to them filing charges against Donald Trump in Fulton County. I believe that that is a form of election interference. I believe that Trump has to win for a third time in order to do a second term. I believe that. I believe that election interference has been happening on a local level in a lot of these states for a long time. I do. I 100% do. But I don't believe that that should be an issue that is only tied to one party. I am very objective in saying that election interference should not be in any form, shape, in any election on the local or the national level, or in any situation, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. I don't believe, because I also believe that if you vote a certain way and then you get the results that come along with it, similar to what's happening in Dalton, similar to what's happening in Chicago, then you get what you vote for, but I just think you have to suffer as a result of your decisions. I'm not tripping about it. It doesn't affect me either way. I'm going to get richer regardless of who's in office, but I prefer for the United States of America to be a place where my daughter's life can be conducive and for her to be able to raise her children in a great place, regardless of whether or not I'm richer or anything, right? So that has nothing to do with it. Objectively, there should not be election interference. That's where I say, flat out, across the board, I don't believe that there needs to be an election interference situation. Regardless of who's winning, whoever wins, it needs to be free and fair election in the United States of America. Now, me personally, I believe that Trump is absolutely going to wash her. I think you're looking at 100 million votes for Trump. I think you're looking at 100 million. 100 million votes for Trump. I think you're looking at it. I do. But this is what's happening across the United States of America. We've been reporting on this for several weeks now. And this is what's happening at the ballot boxes. And I think that people should be concerned. And this is something that we need to address.
I'm Andrew Kraft. Like I said, hope you had a good weekend. What we want to do right now, we want to go out to the Pacific Northwest. This is a story I know that a lot of you are talking about. A lot of you are following right now. Take a look at some of this video, though. Okay, so this is what we know. According to the Associated Press, authorities, including the FBI, were investigating today after early morning fires were set in ballot drop boxes in Portland, Oregon, and in nearby Vancouver, Washington, where hundreds of ballots were destroyed there. Now, the Portland Police Bureau reported officers and firefighters responded to a fire in one ballot drop box. This was around 3:30 in the morning. They determined an incendiary device had been placed inside. Now, the Multnomah County Elections Director, his name, Tim Scott, he said a fire suppressant inside of the drop box protected nearly all the ballots. Only 3 of them were damaged, and his office planned to contact those voters to help them obtain replacement ballots. Now, a few hours later, though, I want to put up some new video here. Take a look at this. Across the Columbia River in Vancouver, TV crews captured footage of smoke pouring out of a ballot box at a transit center. Vancouver is the biggest city in Washington's 3rd congressional district, the site of what is expected to be one of the closest U.S. House races in the country between first-term Democratic Congresswoman Marie Gluesenkamp Perez and Republican challenger Joe Kent. This is a rematch from 2022 here. Yeah, even more video we have. Let's take it there, you see. Now, officials held a news conference after authorities said these early morning fires were set in these ballot drop boxes in both Portland, Oregon, and nearby Vancouver, Washington, where hundreds of ballots were destroyed here. And in this press conference, authorities do believe that these 2 incidents are related, are connected. Let's listen.
And again, we collected it through the Metro Explosive Disposal Unit. These incidents are similar in nature. No one was injured in any of these incidents. We're working with our partners across the river here in Portland and sharing information with our federal law enforcement partners in hopes of bringing this to a successful conclusion. Questions?
Good afternoon, Assistant Chief Amanda McMillan, Portland Police. Just a couple quick comments and then we'll take questions at the end. We really just want to acknowledge the heightened emotion around this event as we build up to the election. We're acutely aware going into the election how folks are feeling, and then events like this with the damage at the ballot boxes. Just want to emphasize that we're dedicated to work collaboratively with all of our partners here, federal partners, the county, Vancouver PD, and the Sheriff's Office working to resolve these cases. We do have an investigator working the leads in this case. We don't know the motive behind these acts. It sounds like a series of 3 at this point. But we do know that acts like this are targeted and they're intentional. And we're concerned about that intentional act trying to affect the election process. We're dedicated to stopping that kind of behavior, and we're working toward that today. Finally, I just wanted to end with, it is an active investigation. We're following up on the leads that we developed, and we're going to have additional information I think Mike's going to share with us here later today. There's a limited amount of information that we can share because it's an ongoing investigation. So I just wanted to say thank you all for coming out. We really appreciate you being here and sharing what we're doing to resolve these. Thank you, guys.
What do you think that the motive is from, okay, let me revise this question. Who do you think, what side of the aisle, if y'all had to guess, chat, if you had to guess, there's a Democrat incumbent and one of the closest rematches, and obviously we know that a lot of people is upset over what's happened over the last 3.5 years, versus a Republican that is trying to unseat an incumbent. And if you had to guess, if you had to put your finger on it, if somebody put a gun to your head, or if somebody said, listen, I got $1 million if you get this right, which side of the aisle do you think is burning up the ballots and the ballot boxes or trying to influence the election? Which side would you choose? The Democrats, the left? Dems. Yep. If you had to guess, which side of the aisle do you think is doing this? What do you think? I live in Seattle and it's definitely a Democrat. The demonic left, Democrats, Dems, the left, easy. Jesus Christ. So it's pretty obvious to all of us then, right? Okay. Just want to make sure that we all on the same page.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tim Scott. I'm the Director of Elections for Multnomah County.
Hey, how does it feel? Because again, we don't censor people. I love my chat. My chat is the co-host of the show. For all of y'all that are watching this, that are bothered, whose spirits is bothered by the fact that you are among a group of people that does not pick and choose based off of identity politics, that we don't care about who you decide to sleep with, even though we have our own personal convictions and our own standards for what our life is, but we absolutely agree to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And we all realize that after doing some research, that the majority of us are conservative and we live our lives conservative, and we would want our children to be raised in a conservative environment. How does it feel to be amongst a whole lot of people who you're not used to being around, that's not in an echo chamber, that can think for themselves and make informed decisions? How does that feel? It gotta hurt you. It has to hurt you. And the reason that it has to hurt you is that most of us grew up in environments where we grew up conservative and we had conservative values that was passed down to us, but for some reason we were sold on the idea that we had to vote liberal, right? We had to vote on Democrats. And so we grew up in a hood. And so if you were ever outside of that, or you ever got off a code, or you ever decided that you want to speak proper English, then you talked white and you got teased for it. And if you went to school and you decided that you wanted to sit in the front of the classroom and study and be a good student, you were teased for that, because right was wrong and wrong is right. And so we're used to being in an environment where the people that get teased are usually the ones that are doing the right thing, but now everything is flipped. It kind of reminds me of, what's that movie, 21 Jump Street, where Channing Tatum and the other guy, and when he was a jock in high school, it was good, you know, it was good to be the bad guy. But then when they went back to high school pretending to still be students, that he was a fish out of water because he didn't realize that he was the one that was looking like the idiot at the time. That's kind of how it is now. It's kind of how it is now, is that the good guys are on the right side of history, and the ones that want to continue to keep you on code is on that other side of history, and they feeling out of order because they're like, man, how come I'm not the cool kid because I want to be the class clown no more? Well, we don't deal with class clowns anymore. We're not interested in court jesters. We're not interested in people entertaining us and giving us booty clapping sounds. Shout out to my dog, O'Shea Duke Jackson. We don't want to see any more sandaling it up and people telling you what you need to do because you're not getting on code and you must be a white man and all. We don't care about that. Okay, call me a white man. I'm cool. Cool. Now what? Now what? And? So is that all you got? You Uncle Ruckus. Yeah. Hey everybody, we got one of them over here. When the dummies say, come on, put your dukes up. Because they don't have any thinking capacity and they don't have the ability to think for themselves. And they lose their crew because all of their friends is locked up all of their friends that would usually vote liberal along with them, they all locked up in jail. It's the truth. The numbers is on our side. Look, the majority of the felons and the people that we know can't actually vote in an election, and those are the ones that's shaming you on social media. I'm just going to tell you the truth. Y'all want to know the truth? Y'all want to know the truth? Okay, I'll tell you the truth. The people that are telling you to get on code are mad because they can't even cast their vote. They on the list. What list is that, might you ask? The sexual offenders list. They mad because you're going to be the one that determines whether or not their fate is going to be A or B. They can't even cast a vote. We're not tripping off of them. We're not tripping. Look, we the ones that don't have no smut on our name. We are free. We are free. You know they got to call their probation officer tomorrow. And we can find them if we look up the list to find out who in our neighborhood is not supposed to be there. I'm sorry, sir. Are you too close to us? You need to back up. Tell them, hey, you need to back up. Why you want me to back up? Because we in a school zone. Now you know. Say one more word and I'm calling your parole officer. You know you're too close to a school zone. So what I need you to do is focus on making sure that you get 100 more feet away from a school zone, even though it's the summertime and the kids is out of school, even though it's the weekend, you're still not supposed to be over here. So, all of that shaming language, you can leave. You can just leave. We're not worried about them. They can't cast their vote anyway. Why y'all so concerned with being on code with people that can't vote? It ain't that. You know why engagement is so far down in y'all gonna get me started. I told you it was gonna be one of them shows. You know why engagement is so far down in the urban community that continue to vote on a thing that's not best for them? Because they can't vote. They citizens. But look, bro, you just mad because immigrants got more control over your fate than you do. It ain't my fault. I never sold drugs to my community. That ain't got nothing to do with me. Got nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me whatsoever.
Details have already been covered. The good news is the fire suppression devices inside the box extinguished any fire almost immediately. There were only 3 ballots that were in the box out of hundreds that had any damage whatsoever. And we were able to clearly read the voters' names on those ballots. So we will be reaching out directly.
Lamont says some of us felons got our voter. Listen, this ain't for all. Look, y'all got to remember that when we speak on people, it's usually a majority, not the minority. If you are a felon that has done your time, changed your life, and then you moving accordingly, then God bless you and congratulations. I think that you are the best person in the world. It almost is just like if people are speaking to the majority of the degenerate black culture that is best, that is not best for us, I don't get offended because it doesn't apply to me. If you say, well, technically speaking, if you look at the census, then black men, they behind all of these other races of men when it comes to not having resources to take care of their family. Okay, cool. That's not applicable to me because I have more than an abundance to take care of multiple different families and I hire people to take care of their families. So I'm not offended by when people say jokes that then may be applicable to the majority of the culture which they would put me in because I'm not of the culture. It doesn't apply to me. If you can vote, it doesn't apply to you. But if you're offended, then maybe I'm talking to you. I don't know.
To those that were impacted. Later today, we will have all the ballots processed that were in that box, except for those 3 where we'll be reaching out to those voters. And
yeah, be careful, y'all. It's going to get ugly over these next, I would say, we vote next Tuesday. So it's 6 days away from the actual election. They say more than 30 million people have already casted their vote, which I don't think the election is going to be certified probably another 4 days after that. So you're looking at the weekend. And so I think it's going to be a rough 2 weeks. It's going to be a very, very, very rough 2 weeks. Let's continue on with the show. Let me read some of these super chats and then we're going to go ahead and get to it. David Williams says, if the left really thinks Trump's Hitler, wouldn't they think they would have moral obligation to cheat to keep Hitler out? AP 1804 says, hey, Anton, I voted Saturday with my Trump hoodie and the MAGA hat, and the blackity blacks were looking at me hard like, did I do something to them? For the next few days, after I go and get my hat, I'm going to be wearing my hat publicly for the next 2 weeks. Magnetar17 says, this is the first election where I get texts from weird phone numbers. I get them all the time, too. About Cammie and Donnie. Is it me? This is anti-cool. Yep, I'm getting them all day, too. I'm getting them all day, every day. Kung Fu Hustler says, they need armed guards near all ballot boxes. Turtle Island says, AD always peep the evil in the Democrats. How you can't feel or see the devil works in that party. CMJ says, hey, Anton, I have the opportunity to become a city police officer or a state trooper. What do you think would be the better opportunity for your perspective? State trooper. State trooper all day long. State trooper all day long. All day long. Patty Jackson says, the same people mad about the Puerto Rico comment is the same ones that call Chicago Chirac. Don't get me started on that. Trady says, I live in bright red Texas, but thank God I'm nowhere near Houston or Dallas. Dallas is blue too. Or what's the other one? Houston, Dallas. It's another one that's like the Texas version of California. I forgot the name of it. It's slipping my mind. Tanaya's Busy says, I know it's old news, y'all, but it finally came to me who Kelly Rowland looked like at the Kamala rally. Tell me she won't be channeling. Oh, my God. Jesus Christ. Y'all are insane. Love USA says, Trump equals secure borders, low illegal immigration, low living costs, low interest rates, less regulation, bringing jobs back to the USA, more job opportunities, no handouts, and safer neighborhoods with no wars. Let me give an applause for that one. DoorDash, what's up, DoorDash driver mama? I want you to be my DoorDash driver, baby. I want to know if the Fonnie Willis Kamala Harris meeting was to benefit the Biden-Harris ticket or the Harris to be determined ticket forthcoming. Well, they say that she only met with the vice president, so. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. All right, so let's deep dive. Black celebrities. And we're going to get into the whole BET movement next after this. But black celebrities have now come out en masse. I have never in my life seen more black celebrities, more town halls. The only other time that black people and black men in particular came together was during the Millionaire Man March. And Farrakhan had to do that. Let me tell you something. The only time that I seen, I'm sorry, you're right. It's one other time outside of that. The main time that I seen black people come together for no reason was when they came together for the Million Man March, and then they made some movies that came along with it. The only other time that I see black men come together in order to advocate for women is when they opening up a new strip club in your neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? But I've never seen so many black men come together outside of a Diddy party to advocate for women to do things that's only other time I seen them come together was when they all wanted to go to a Diddy party so they can get towed up. I ain't seen so many black men celebrities in the same room since they all said that they wanted to go to a Diddy party. The only other time. That's it. That's it. Is it just me? Is it me? Or is it this election? I don't know. Let's see what D.L. Hughley had to say on the news on CBS Mornings about candidates focusing on black male voters with election day right around the corner. Let's get to it.
The election likely to come down to tens of thousands of votes in battleground states. The candidates are tailoring messages for every single group that may have a vote up for grabs that could put them over the edge. One group Harris has been focusing on, as you've noticed, probably black men. Just this morning, she was on the radio show, The Breakfast Club. And 2 weeks ago, she sat down with the host of The Breakfast Club, Charlemagne the God. There, she rolled out her economic opportunity agenda, specifically for black men, which includes forgivable loans for black businesses. Former President Trump, for his part, has held roundtables with black voters, and he told an Atlanta crowd that African Americans and Latinos who cast their votes for Harris need to have their heads examined, saying, quote, "They're really screwing you," unquote. Now, much has also been made of a New York Times poll from a few weeks ago that found that 20% of black men plan to vote for Trump, and that black male support for Harris is lower than it was for Biden in 2020. Now, CBS News polling, however, shows that Harris support with black voters is pretty stable, and according to exit polls, is roughly on par with their 2020 and 2016 support. But the Harris campaign has made moves that make it look like they're at least a little bit worried about this voting bloc. Our friends at BET, which like us is owned by Paramount Global, decided to go ahead and hear from black men. Tonight, their Black Men Summit premieres at 10 p.m.
And that was last night, but let's continue.
9 Central. Actor, comedian, and radio personality D.L. Hughley hosts the conversation with black politicians, leaders, and artists. And D.L. is with us now, and we'll talk to him in just a second. But first, we want to play this exclusive clip from tonight's special featuring Tennessee State Representative Justin Pearson.
Our socialization has taught us to praise people who are famous. Right. Our socialization has taught us to praise people who can get a lot of women and can say what they want and do what they want and have said, hey, that image that's the image of a real man. That's the image of a strong person. That's the image of a real leader who can just fire people at will. Now he's running for president. And a lot of people are like, wait, no, that's not.
Hey, why are they talking like Trump wasn't already president of the United States of America for 4 years? I asked the guy at the table today when I was going to pick up my pancake house on the way into the studio. And I asked him and I said, because they was talking about Trump. It was some older black men, 60 and above, most of them. And I'm going to go into it on the next segment. And I asked him, I said, hey, listen, if Trump is this bad and this is what he want to do to y'all, then how come he didn't do it in the last time that he was in office? Oh, he didn't get a chance to. I said, so if he didn't get it, I said, so in 4 years, 4 years, he had an opportunity to create an agenda to where he didn't focus on opportunity zones. He didn't focus on continuing to fund HBCUs. He didn't do any of that type of stuff, right? Instead, he actually advocated for it. And y'all actually loved Trump prior to him getting into office and running for president of the United States of America in 2016. Why didn't he push this agenda to where he wanted to unseat y'all and completely destroy y'all lives? Why didn't he do it the first time around? These people are talking like he wasn't already president of the United States of America, and we can't see a large sample size of what his presidency would look like for us as individuals.
That's not it anymore. Right. But years of socialization have to that you want to lead. The perception of X is
right, I got to wear shades. DL, good morning.
Good morning, man. You know I love democracy. I'm up early in the morning trying to save it, baby.
I hear you. All right, well, let's talk about these vote totals that may or may not come in by black men voting for Kamala Harris. It would seem the campaign's at least a little worried, at least based on the Obama comments and where they've been going and the audiences they've been having. But other people say, not so fast. This is all overblown. Where do you stand on the question?
Well, ultimately, I think it's a false choice. I think that it's disingenuous to pretend that black men, we vote at a higher rate than any other demographic except black women. And I think we're going to be there ultimately. But I think the media seems to be a bit one-sided. I think it is legitimate to ask the question whether Kamala and the campaign is concerned about the perceived erosion of black men. But it would be a more honest approach would be, why is he eroding? We can talk to DeAndre at the barbershop in Detroit. Why aren't we talking about him losing Dick Cheney and Geraldo Rivera and Jeff Flake? So it seems a bit one-sided. I think that she's working as hard as she should to reach out to people who are an important constituent and to hear their concerns. It's also important to remember that Donald Trump has been the top of the ticket for the Republican Party for 10 straight years.
Hey, let me ask y'all a question. The question was about the engagement of black people and whether or not they're going to continue to vote for Kamala Harris, considering that we've traditionally, as a black population or as black culture, swung in favor of Democrats, but more and more of them, men in particular, are moving towards the party of the Republican because we are largely considered conservative in our lifestyle anyway. The question was about her ability to court this demographic. The same thing happens every single time. And you know what that is? Somehow, some way, they start talking about how much they don't like Trump. It's free promotion, baby. It's free promotion, baby. Every single time, somehow, some way, they go into what they don't like about Donald Trump, no matter what the question is.
And it's never come up with a plan. He has concepts of a plan. 120 days she's been out and already has a plan that was an agenda for black men that they constructed. So I think you can see that.
Yeah, I'm not really interested in marijuana laws being decriminalized on a federal level. That don't really affect me.
Difference is right there.
DL, just this morning on the Breakfast Club, Kamala Harris said that brothers aren't saying that they are going to Trump, that is overplayed in the media. But the polls are what they are, or do you think the polls aren't accurate?
Well, I think the quickest way, I say this all the time, the quickest way to make a black dude lie to you is ask him a question with a clipboard in your hand. So I think, if there are people who are reticent to speak to pollsters who are Trump voters, I think that would be true of anybody. I think But I don't know the methodology. I know personally this is not anecdotal, but I don't know anybody who's ever been polled before. But ultimately, I think this is an opportunity for young black men or black men, period, to do something I've never seen the political process avail them to, and that's an opportunity to tell people what they want. And I think she's done that, and she was doing that before she was the top of the ticket, and she's doing it now. And I think she's laid out an agenda that is full of the things that a lot of black men have said they wanted, and I think we have an obligation to see if she is true to her word.
Nope. I haven't heard anybody ask black men what they wanted, and I've seen them roll out a set of policies or a set of revised versions of what they've already had on the books to then try to appease. And that's why even when you looked on the website, it says to black men and others. And then right under those summary talking points, you know what you're seeing? Right under those summary talking points, do you know what you're seeing? You're seeing an ad about how it is that you need to be afraid of Donald Trump. You're seeing an ad of how you needed to be afraid of Donald Trump. Look at it. I can pull it up for you right now. No worries. We're going to go ahead and do so because this is my show and I can do what I want when I want to do it, and nobody can tell me what to do because I don't control. I'm not controlled, and I'm not a paid shill. Nobody can control me, and nobody can tell me what I can and can't talk about. Guess what? I do what I want to do when I want to do it. Yep, I do what I want to do when I want to do it. So if I go to it, there will be no subscribing for me. If I go to it, I can look at it. Oh, smack. To black entrepreneurs and others. I already got good health care coverage, so I'm not really focused on that. I'm good. Because the National Health Equity Initiative is applicable to everybody. I don't really care about legalizing marijuana and the unjust barriers of smoking trees every day on a federal level. I don't care. And then all of the rest of this stuff is applicable to everybody because it's just the reform, it's the revised version of what she's saying as far as going after corporate America, who already have low margins in the grocery sector for price gouging for food and groceries. How is this applicable to black men? How are you, and again, this is the revised version, and that's why, oh man, oh my God. How, bro? And then look, check this out right after that. Look at Donald Trump. He's a serious threat to the lives and opportunity of black Americans and men. Trying to fearmonger you. They're trying to fearmonger you. But let's continue.
DL, what do you think are the biggest misconceptions about black men voters?
I know that one of the things that black men wanted that nobody paid attention to, and everybody called us, because I'm not even under the thumb of child support. They wanted revisions to the family court laws. Guess what you heard? Zero, zilch, nada. One of the things that black men said that they wanted, because they just threw these initiatives out there and nobody wanted to have a conversation about it. One of the things that black men said that they wanted is they wanted to update family court laws that was established at a time where women didn't have as many rights as they have now. And women have the right to choose for themselves. They have the ability to be able to make as much money as men. And by default, the family court laws are still slated in the favor of women, yet we want to say we want equal for all. Why aren't we updating family court laws to better or less, or to more importantly, reflect the values and the ways in which opportunities are being presented to women today? And guess what everybody said? They were silent. You know what they always say? They say everything should be equal. Equal work for equal pay. People should have the right to do what they want to do with their own body. My body, my choice. Do what you want to do when you want to do it. Okay, cool. Since everything is equal, can we update the family court laws? No, you a man. You need to man up. Wait. I thought you said everything is equal, and I thought you wanted to know what men wanted. No, you a man. Wait. Is it equal? Or are we separating it? Because if I want to go and use your bathroom, you okay with it. If I want to go and play in your makeup and then dunk on your head, then you cool with it. If you let me get in the boxing ring and then go and use the bathroom next to your daughter, you cool with it. But when you ask me what I want, and I say that I want to update family court laws to be more reflective of what we're looking at in society today, you said that I need to man up. You don't really care about what I think. And guess what? I'm not even a person that is affected by it, but I'm listening to my constituents. I'm listening to my constituents. And I would love to make sure that I address your needs and concerns reasonably if it makes sense. And guess what? It makes sense. But I don't see anything. I don't see anybody asking men what they want, because the minute that they say what makes sense and what's fair and equitable for all, they ignore you. They don't want to hear nothing that you got to say. They want to throw you crumbs and say, eat. Eat them crumbs. Take them little crumbs off the table. And guess what? Even updating family court laws, nobody is saying that you giving us a handout. We just saying that we want to play a fair playing field. We want an equal playing field. Nobody is saying give us diversity, equity, and inclusion and give us a handout. We don't want your marijuana. We don't want your loans. We don't want none of that. All we want is the ability to have a fair playing field so we can make it make sense. When you decided that you wanted to align yourself with feminism and leave the family, we said, my money, my choice. Your body, your choice. My money, my choice. Why should you by default get the kids? Who said that you was the best parent? Shouldn't the best parent or the one that has the capacity or the availability of resources to be able to parent that child effectively, to put them in a strong household, in a great community, shouldn't it be on a case-by-case basis instead of at default be swinging in the favor of a woman just because she's a woman? Because if the woman, men aren't complaining. Hey, if the woman is the one that's the best for the kid, all I'm asking you to do is to allow for me to play a role in his life, and we can figure it out from there. It's a case-by-case basis. It should not be default slanted in one favor or another. Equal is equal, right? It's whoever is the best for the child, and also who is the most fair when it comes to making sure that the child has the ability to participate in both parents' life. Who can give this child the best situation and the best life? I don't really understand why that's such a bad thing. How come nobody is talking about that? Listen, when I run for president of the United States of America, the first thing that I'm going to do, no. I'm not doing nothing until I change and advocate all the way up to the top of the top. I want Congress to work with me. Congress members, Congress, I'd love to have your vote. Before we solve for anything that's happening, the first thing that I want to do is I want to make sure that we update our laws to more effectively be a reflection of what we see society going in today. And it is unfair. I mean, I don't like it. It's almost become a racket. And we need to make sure that we update family court laws to be more reflective and for these judges to participate in keeping families together and making sure that they do the thing that's in the best interest of the child. Not for any special demographic. It's about the children. It's about the children. When I become president of the United States of America, when I run my campaign, my first action is for us to update family court laws, and may the best parent be the one that gets the majority of the custody. Everybody getting joint custody. You get joint custody. You get joint custody. Yeah. And we're going to make sure that we hold these judges accountable to ensure that they are not substituting child support for alimony. That way, prenuptial agreements are absolutely 100% full in effect enforced. And another thing, since we going ahead and putting our agenda out there for 2034, where Anton is going to be running for president of the United States, is it 2034? 2036? And another thing while we at it, paternity, require paternity at the birth of the child. Require paternity at the birth of the child. Yes. It is no longer going to be default what she puts on the birth certificate, and then that's the person that pays child support. We gonna find out, and we gonna proactively hold people accountable for who they open up their legs to. And guess what? More of your money is going to go in your pocket. You don't even need no tax cut. You're going to get all of your own child support back because we're going to realize and figure out the fact that she had sex with somebody that wasn't you and had a child, and we're not going to require you to take care of that kid. Paternity at the birth of the child, and people going to start being more careful of who they open up their legs to. Listen, I got real solutions. I got real bipartisan solutions that's going to help the everyday American. And guess what? Guess what? That's not even just for black men. That's for all men. That's for all men. My agenda in 2036 is going to be absolutely 100% a bipartisan, working across both sides of the aisle, because both Democrats and Republicans alike are the ones that are suffering at the hands of family court law. It should not be this way. We're not gonna put a cap on insulin. We're gonna put a cap on lawyers' fees. We're not gonna put We're not putting a cap on insulin. We putting a cap on lawyers' fees. Yes, we are. Forget the cap on insulin. Some of us can just eat right. Forget that. Listen, eat right. You ain't got to worry about no insulin. We putting a cap on lawyers' fees. Yeah. We're not going to drive people bankrupt just because they no longer want to sit there next to the person that don't have their best interests at heart. We putting a cap on lawyers' fees. Now, if you want to know what men really want, I could tell you what men want. And it ain't no federal non-banning on marijuana. Let's hear what the rest of the DO usually got to say.
I think that we're not involved. I think that we're not engaged. Everything society cares about, we do. We care about our economic prospects. We care about being involved in the wealth-making mechanisms of this country. We care about a woman's bodily autonomy. We care about the environment. We care about schools. So we're no different than anybody else. I think what is different is this is the first time in my recent recollection, or in my memory at all.
And when women decide that they want to put the wrong man on the birth certificate intentionally, that is a felony, and you are going to be prosecuted at the fullest extent of the law. That's falsifying documents. That is the equivalent of filing false documents in order to enrich thyself. That is going to be a felony by default.
All where somebody asks us what we want. I've been married a long time. My wife ain't never asked me what I wanted, so it's a different process. But I think, I think, what do you want? Is this a trick question? I think it is interesting, and it shows how important we are. But we have to understand, like a lot of demographics understand, politics is transactional. You don't have to deify a politician or worship a politician. You don't have to be. They are a tool to get what you want. And I think for the first time, not only are black men being asked what they want, but they're coming up with specific things that they need to have to feel like they're participating in this process.
Dio, let's talk about the summit, which premieres tonight on BET. What is something you learned from it, and a misconception, something debunked, any takeaway for you personally from what you learned?
Well, for what I have learned is that we're not a monolith. We're demographic. They got we're demographic.
He don't even know what he's doing. He don't even know how to talk right. We're not gonna worry about Dio. We're gonna get to him in a minute. Let me read some of these super chats, and then we're gonna move over into the next part of the show. J-Dub says, for the collection plate player, yeah, appreciate you, big dog. Master Irrigation says, why nobody talking about the Dems going to attempt to cheat and have the migrants illegally vote? I think that needs to be discussed openly. Oh, we've been talking about that for the longest. The best feeling of success says Sabrina comes in here and saying it's her birthday every 2 weeks. No, it's Sabrina's birthday, big dog. Show some love. We love Sabrina. The lived experience says, thank you. Keep speaking the truth. There is virtue in the words you speak. Justin Credible says, Arnold Schwarzenegger just endorsed Kamala on Twitter. Dude is faker than a $3 bill. Listen, they kicked him out of California. Maurice Maddox says, what up, though, with the 10 ball? Thank you, Maurice. Keyshawn, what up, Keyshawn? I would think we would hold the party we have been loyal to for 60 years, locally and nationally accountable. We haven't. The government can't lower your rent. Room 9 alert. That's true. Favorite dishes at J. Alexander's? Actually, they have some off-the-menu items, and every J. Alexander's may have a couple of off-the-menu items, depending on what state that you go to. But mine, you can usually get it if you ordered it off the menu. It's chicken Milanese. Chicken Milanese. And sometimes they have this roasted corn. that they have, but Chicken Milanese at J. Alexander's is absolutely phenomenal. They got some great steak, but you got to order it right. So a lot of people get it well done, no pink. We don't like that. Chicken Milanese is it. Chicken Milanese is it. And the deviled eggs is really good also. But shout out to you, Mr. Plucky. I appreciate you. Bobby Michael is in the building, says, these black celebrities are doing the same things the Africans did back in Africa. They are willing to send their own people into slavery for some money. What in the World TV says, first DNA tests need to be done every birth. I agree. Did you first deal with the blowback from becoming a Trump? How did you first deal with the blowback from becoming a Trump supporter? I was just called a self-hating black man with internalized white supremacy. It's really starting to get to me. Honestly, you want to know how I dealt with it? I got richer. At the end of the day, the way I see it is I'm the only person that got to go to bed with myself. When people feel a certain type of way about me, let's say I get some criticism, it may be unwarranted, it may be warranted. I know at the end of the day that 19 times out of 20, I am never, ever going to see that person again. People who have weak arguments throw insults. I told a man today, hey, lower your voice, strengthen your argument. You got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. It bothered him. I became more intellectual. I became more knowledgeable. I became better at debating my point and articulating myself more effectively. I learned how to read the room. I realized and I leveraged their hate for profitability. The more that you hate me, the richer I get. Even if you want to look at it on a spiritual level, you have to understand that he said, as if you suffer with him, you'll reign with him. There is no glory in always being right, or people always saying that, living in an echo chamber with a bunch of demons. What do I care? What does it profit me to gain the whole world and to lose my soul? If the whole world is against me, I'm okay with that. As long as I'm confident that I'm going in the right direction, that's the only thing that matters. Do you realize that it's not a majority of people that in the world that's rich, it's a minority. And the majority of people hate rich people. Now, are you going to convince me not to be rich just because you don't like the fact that I got resources? Absolutely not. What's the difference? Whenever you're doing the right thing, when you went to school and they laughed at you for actually pulling your pants up and not sagging, and you sat in front of the class and you got straight A's and they teased you and said, oh, you a goody two shoes. All of them people is in jail now. Half of them people is selling dope. They dead. A lot of them ultimately met their own demise as a result of their own decisions. Some of them only did it because they didn't want to be teased themselves, and they was afraid because they actually was smart enough to do the work, but they refused because they didn't want to be criticized, and they became a part of the Me Too gang. It's never a bad thing to be criticized for being right. It's never a bad thing to be criticized for being right, because the only thing that you need to focus on is the long-term results. That's what I tell people. If you are in the minority of the people if you are in this alleged 20% of black men that is voting for Republicans because you actually stand on something and you can substantiate your argument and it's best for your family, is it better to be right for your family, or is it better to be right in the eyes of those that's demonic and don't even know what's best for them? I don't care. I don't care. I never cared my entire life. I never cared what the majority of people did. I never wanted to be a part of the in crowd. I don't care. I'm my own person. I'm my own person. I can think for myself. That means that you are now unlocked. The majority of the people are fooled. The majority of the people are followers. The majority of the people are sheep. The majority of the people love Taylor Swift, and they're going to go to Beyonce and do whatever she do. Have you ever seen what a Beyonce concert look like? It looks like, honest to God, on everything, and this is my personal opinion. Let's get here. Let's go there. Have y'all ever seen what a Beyonce, I'm going to read y'all super chat shortly. Have y'all ever seen what a Beyonce concert look like? Respectfully. It looks like the devil's playground. It looks like everybody there And I'm not saying that it's true. I'm telling you what the perception from my eyes look like, from how it is that they presented it and what they show on social media. It looks like, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of that Balenciaga ad where they was trying to petition kids and they used that kid and they had the bondage on the kids and stuff. It looks like that. It's flaming. It's sassy. It's nasty. It looks demonic. And I'm okay with not going. I'm okay with not going. Listen, this thing right here, this Black Summit and all of this stuff with D.L. Hughley, and you got Ben Crump. I see D.L. Hughley. I see Lil Scrappy in there. Michael Ealy. Look like, what is that dude that used to be in the group with Young Jock and Jeezy and them? The one that used to be with DJ Khaled. I'm So Hood, dude. I see him. I see Lil Scrappy in the upper right-hand corner right next to the D.L. Hughley's head. Now ask yourself this question. Why would I listen to Lil Scrappy? He's about as smart as a box of rocks. Why would I listen to D.L. Hughley? D.L. Hughley can't even get his own household in order. Look at these people. I see ambulance chasers, clout chasers, and people that are trying to appeal to the sentiment of women just to be liked and to be loved. What do I care? What do I care? When did we start caring so much about what celebrities think and what the old guard think, and not enough about what we think about what matters when it comes to what's best for us? When you see these people talking, look at Jermaine Dupri. Jermaine Dupri was shamed into ultimately having a conversation about what's best for Black men based off of what Kamala Harris's agenda is, who is not even married to a Black man. You have all of these guys up here. We got one guy sitting up here with a suit and Nikes on. We don't even like Nike no more because Nike is the one that went against Kyrie Irving when he decided to stand up against and what's for the best for y'all. He's sitting up there pigeon-toed. I don't listen to men that sit pigeon-toed. I don't care nothing about that. I went to the Pancake House today. And at the Pancake House, it was a guy that noticed me, right? And he said, Anton, I listen to all your stuff. And it wound up being a table of like 10 to 12 men. And he said they meet there once a month, right? And I seen one guy and he was super loud and he was super, belligerent. And so I was sitting there and it was right after I had got done shooting my video that I released on the Anton Daniels channel. And the guy noticed me and he said, hey man, I'm the youngest guy here or whatever, so on and so forth. And I said, oh, okay. I said, who you voting for? What y'all voting for? I asked the guy that was at the loudest at the table. I said, who you voting for? Who else would I vote for? Kamala Harris. I said, oh, okay. I said, that's cool. I said, yeah, I voted for Trump. And he said, oh my God, this. And he wanted to call me a nigga, but he caught himself. He said, this. Ugh. And then there was another guy that was sitting literally to my right, or I was standing up and it was at the table and it was an older guy to my right and then I was talking to the guy, it was an older guy that was to my left and I was talking to the guy at the right. And he had his gazelles on and he looked maybe about 70 or whatever. And I said, oh, and he was looking disgusted at me and he said, oh, I said, yeah, I get it. You from a certain generation. Yeah, I'm from a certain generation. I would never vote for a man like that. I said, oh, okay. He looking to overthrow us. I said, well, why he ain't do it back in 2016 when he first became president of the United States of America? Look at this Trump loving. I said, well, I mean, why you like him? I said, oh, why do I like him? And see, it was only one guy at the table that knew who I was, so he knew where this was going. He was like, oh, shoot. He was like, oh, man. He said, why you like him? So I started running down my whole thoughts. At the end, that whole restaurant seemed like it was about to get turned over, and I was there for it. In the end, the whole restaurant seemed like it was about to get turned over.
Your call has been forwarded to.
One of the guys at the end of it, he ran outside and he said, man, can I get your information? Because I had turned one of them. I had turned one of them because somebody actually finally stood up to the big bad wolf. And so I gave him my phone number and I said, yeah, man, call. Oh, man, I want to invite you to this and that because you need to speak to these guys. They don't know no better and all of this other type of stuff. Now, this wound up being a guy that was the youngest guy at the table, and he resonated with me, but he was sitting there with those older guys. And I said, listen, respectfully, I see y'all getting belligerent because I told one guy, I said, yeah, man. I said, every time I keep talking, you ask me a question, you open up your mouth to interrupt me. You got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. They were so appalled that somebody actually stood up to them. I don't care what you say. I said, I know. You in your feminine energy right now, big dog. You in your feminine energy right now. Listen, I know you used to being a part of something where your woman is the head of the household, but I'm not that. I just tell them straight up, I don't care. I don't care what you say and what you do. I am going to represent the thing that is in my best interest, flat out. I do not care even a little bit at all. I said, listen, the old guard is done. And I told him straight to their face. I hope homeboy called me back. I said, bro, the old guard is done. This is not 1963. I know you come from a certain era. I know you come from a certain era, but this is 2024. You sitting here with all of this gold chains on your arms and on your hands. That means you did well in life. You sitting there over there and you can pay for your breakfast and your wife let you get out the house. That means you got freedom, right? It was a couple of chuckles at the table. The old guard is done. We don't need y'all influence no more. I said, y'all the ones that let us into this mire in the first place. You the reason why feminism exists. You the reason why our households is broken. You probably got 3 baby mamas over there. The whole restaurant was quiet. And then you know me, I started getting into my whole ego thing. I said, I control Michigan. I run Michigan. I run Michigan. My voice is more important than all of y'all. Y'all need to be trying to convince me of why it makes sense instead of the other way around. I run Michigan. Say, yeah, he do got the most views in Michigan. I run Michigan. It is what it is. Between all of my channels, we do 26 million views a month, over 3 million watch hours. We run Michigan. We run Michigan. Your time is done. It's over. And yeah, they say it's only 20% now, but tomorrow it's going to be 22%. And the year after that, it's going to be 24%. And the year after that, it's going to be 28%. Listen, y'all aged out. Y'all ruined y'all communities. Y'all ruined y'all households. Y'all the reason why they calling dudes femcells and incels in the first place. Y'all wives is telling y'all what to do. Y'all used to come home and bring your whole paycheck to your wife. We don't want to hear from y'all no more. It's over. These celebrities that sitting up here on BET, we don't want to hear from them no more. It's over. We done with the unrighteous having a say in what it is that's happening in society today. We don't want to hear from y'all no more. Y'all left y'all households, y'all sent y'all women to church, and y'all let them go over there and get feminized by the pastor, and they were so busy trying to get next to the pastor that you lost control of what was going on in your own household. I'm not even sure your kids is yours. Your sons is gay. Your daughters is butch. You voting for women leadership. I said, man, by default, as a man, I would never pick a woman to lead me. Why would I select a woman to be my leader? That don't even make sense. That's not even biblical. That's not even scriptural. And I know you a deacon over there. He started laughing. Yeah, that's true. Y'all handpicked. I said, we MAGA 2024, baby. We MAGA 2024. I don't care nothing about what the old guard is saying. We run this here. You just live here now. And you better be nice to us before we put you in a nursing home. You better be nice to us before we put you in a nursing home. You one step away from crawling in the grave. You better be nice to us over there. You with the Kangho hat on. Flat out. Care nothing about what y'all think. I don't care nothing what these old dudes think. I don't care nothing about the... See, once you get past 38, 40, 42 years old, that means you old enough to run for president of the United States of America. That means I ain't got to listen to you no more. I get it. You want to talk to the 20-year-olds, you want to talk to the 21, 22, 23, 24. Their brains are still forming. It's not even fully developed yet. Cool. By the time that they get 30, they starting to figure out what it is that they want to do for life. But I'm richer than this whole table combined. I got more influence, more impact, and I'm more righteous than every last one of you. I know you over there. You probably done got 2 divorces already on your 3rd wife. I want to hear from y'all. Y'all messed up. You had the keys. Y'all was freer than y'all ever been. Y'all made more money than ever before. And y'all absolutely 100% fumbled everything. You ruined everything. I'm holding the older generation. Now, if it don't apply, then let it fly. But I'm holding the older generation accountable. Y'all messed up. And it's the reason why we are in a position where women are now filing for head of household. And I'm not saying it from an oppression perspective. I'm saying it because the nature of a woman is to fall under her femininity and not to be competing for resources like y'all wives. You mean? But women around me don't even want to have to make them type of decisions. They say, hey, what are we voting again? Send me a picture of what you put on your ballot in order for me to put it on my ballot. I said, all right. I sent it to her. Hey, send me a picture of what you got on your ballot. Oh, and what do you want for dinner tonight? Right after that, she said, can you send me a picture of what you put on your ballot so I can make sure that I fill mine out like that too? And what do you want for dinner? Right after that. I don't deal with the same stuff that y'all deal with. I'm not in the same position as y'all. I'm not going to sit here and have no conversation with dudes that can't even control, that don't even know what their daughter is doing, that send their daughter off to college in order to slut it out, and you say, it's okay, baby, it's okay, baby. I don't care nothing about what y'all talking about. Right after that, she says, send me your ballot. Send me what's on your ballot, and then I'm going to do my ballot the same as yours. I said, all right, I sent her the front and the back. I'm not going to sit here and negotiate with you. Your wives work for a living. My wife worked for me. You know what she's probably doing right now? Getting her nails done. Going to all of the doctor's appointments, dentists, nails, all of that stuff. She just be going to the doctor just to make sure that she in good health, just because. Oh, new doctor's appointment today. Old guard is done. We done with y'all. We don't want to hear from y'all. We not interested in your opinion. I don't want to negotiate with you. I don't want to live stream with you. I don't want to sit here and debate with you. I'm not listening to your old ways. You over. You done. The only thing that you should be doing in your life at this point is asking God for forgiveness and then asking what it is that you can do to support people like me, because your time is over. You got bad knees, bad hips, and you can't even get up the steps fast enough. We can't use you no more. You gave your whole life over to the devil, and you still voting for demonic people that's in office. You gave your whole life over to the devil. At the time that he could have used you the most for the righteousness and the kingdom of heaven, you decided that you want to go over to the devil, and now you want redemption. Just because you old don't mean you ain't an old fool. You old and you a fool. We done with y'all. Your generation is up. We don't listen to you. We don't listen to you. It's over for you. These comedians, these celebrities. You know what y'all taught us? I ain't even going to get into it. You're going to have me going on a whole nother rant. Soul crack to your communities. Live by the code of bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks. Lick on these nuts and suck the dick. That was the lyrics. Why? Because you diabetic now and your pancreas is hurting you and your left hip and you got a limp now? We supposed to listen to you because you old? You a crackhead. You a basehead. You nothing to me. Shut the hell up. Keep on being in the deacon seat. Then hit half the girls that's in the church congregation. It's the only reason you still go to church, trying to make up for your old ways. And so now you say, hallelujah. You done been in and out of jail, in and out of prison, sold weed, sold crack, was at the Freaknik, passed down all of these diseases. Man, get the fuck out of my face. MAGA 2024, homie. I'm sitting here talking to you old niggas. Straight up. Y'all supposed to be in the twilight of y'all lives. Y'all meeting at the fucking pancake house without your wife on a Wednesday. Nigga, it's a Wednesday. You ain't got nothing better to do? You having a men's meeting at the pancake house on a Wednesday? Who you talking to? It's a Wednesday morning. Ain't got nothing else to do? Put you niggas in a group home. Sick of this shit. Sorry for the cussing. Sorry. I know y'all be having me on in the barbershop and churches and stuff. Don't worry, they needed to hear that part. They needed to hear that part. Sick of these old fools. And your daddy an old fool too. Y'all know y'all daddies is weak. Your daddy was a rolling. Your daddy is a fool. You love him because he your daddy, but he a fool. He a whole fool, not a half a fool. Your daddy been dumb. He been crazy. Winnie says, I gave you the answer. Hopefully you got that answer. Call him an old fool. Vote Anton Daniels for the children. I'ma tell them what they need to get to in order to be able to be successful. Listen, at the end of the day, your son not gonna be sassy because he actually had a father figure representative of watching the Millionaire Morning Show. BZE says, isn't it crazy girls listen to the Lotto song called Brokey, but the majority of the debt is with women. They're independent but need men for money. Your daddy can't even read, bro. Please run. I got my VIP tickets for the show. I can't wait to kick it with y'all in person. Cardiac 82 says, stay off the weed. I love this show, dude. New fan. Shout out to the new people that's here for the first time. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel. Second, if Congress is caught getting money from the corporations, jail time. We need to clean this whole thing. Presidential says, I'm the oddball too. Great benefits in being able to separate from the crowd. The oddballs is the ones that's going to make it into heaven. D'Amato Cooper says, body autonomy. The Lord said that the husband's body belongs to the wife and the wife's to the husband. Therefore, killing the baby is not the right of the woman. Killing is against the word. And the word was God and the word was with God. I made a grown man cry because I told him I voted for Trump. I said to him, you acting like a female. I had Evergreen and 10 Mile on 100. You know it. You know what's happening. You know it. I had Evergreen and 10 Mile shut down. They know what it was. It was on 10 in Evergreen and 10 Mile. Enforcer 2K9 says, when people say you ain't black, what's actually great about being included with this collective is the authentic blackness besides the struggle. Aries, shout out to the Aries. Ooh, I see you, baby, says, let's call it what it is, the Diddy party. That's what it was. It was a Diddy meeting. AD, you cursing again. All right, forgive me. Give it to them. They ain't gonna learn it. They gonna learn today. Shout out to Ash, my dog Ash in the building. I gave my wife a sample copy of my ballot, read down ballot. She voted accordingly. She works and belongs to me. Me. Shout out to Ash, being one of the strong ones. Old heads are smelling like an old pack of cigarettes. And then the other one was like, I say, somebody call an ambulance for Kangol over here. New Movement Inc. says Anton Daniels ain't nothing. I'm telling you, I'm running for president. 2036, we in there. We in there like swimwear. It's either gonna be me or JD Vance. Which one you picking? All right, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm. Presidential says Gen X was very woman-centric and way more interested in being their kids' friends than disciplinary, and I witnessed it and I'm 50. Talk about it. I don't want to hear from these dudes. Go somewhere and sit down. He said, I ain't lying. He said, I said, somebody call an ambulance. This guy's choking on that MAGA word. The word of God is dealing with him right now. Somebody get the ambulance. The word of God is pricking his heart. Oh, tell your daddy I said, what up, though? Tell your grandma to lean into my word. It's going to be best for him. Barack Obama. Barack decided that he wanted to pull up to the pivot. All right? So when Barack pulled up to the pivot, I have to admit, He was very, 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 very smooth with his words. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. He was very smooth with his words. I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. You at work, Trini Life? All right, y'all. Let's talk to Barack Obama. I'm going to go to a part where I left off. This is where I left off. Now, I will say that prior to the 36-minute mark, I now remember why y'all voted for Barack, because his ability, I have to be objective. I don't like, Barack Obama is one of those people, he's one of those type of people where if you don't pay enough attention, he'll pick your pocket. He could talk you into picking your pocket, but he didn't actually steal your wallet. You voluntarily gave it to him because he could lullaby you into a story that makes you think, I mean, listen, he really, really finessed. And I almost bought into it. I said, is he ready for a third term? What's going on? Yeah, because me and Michelle, I mean, we had nothing. And you know, at dinner time, you know, I would be in the Oval Office, and it's just a little bit different because I came from nothing. And we didn't have 2 pennies to rub together. And when I was in college, it was rough. I mean, we were in Hawaii, and in Hawaii, it was a little bit different because you got to be around people who played outside because it's a very beautiful place. And so we had a good opportunity to really get to know your neighbor, you know. And we were in college, and I met Michelle, and let me give her a little bit of grace because she made the sacrifice. You know, we brought her mother in to help us with the kids, and I made up in my mind that no matter what, at 6:30, we were going to have dinner together. So I would be in a situation room, and I would be dealing with some international conflict, trying to figure out whether or not we wanted to sanction Iran or deal with some insurgency. And no matter what it was, I wanted to protect the kids. And so it brought me back to a source of reality in that, you know, I would be dealing with some conflict, some international issue, and Malaya would be telling me about some teacher that bothered her at school. And so it gave me this duality. You know, and so I think that's what we're missing today. I was entranced. I said, Jesus, it's a reason why y'all was voting for Barack Obama. That's what he was saying during the beginning of the. Okay, so let me see if I can find some of the parts.
Perspective, and over time, that makes you better, right? So I'd be down dealing with some legislative issue, trying to pass, you know, Obamacare, or trying to deal with some international issue, Iraq, Afghanistan. Then I come up, and my girls, they don't want to hear anything about that. You know, so I'm sitting there eating dinner, and they're talking about, you know, this teacher who, you know, is kind of cross-eyed, or some kid who, you know, acting a fool, and they've got their own stories, and it gives you some sense of reality and perspective.
Am I right or am I right? I watched the whole part up to the thing. I watched all the way up until 36 minutes. I said, this dude could talk a chick out of her panties if she walked up to him and told him that she was gay. Barack Hussein Obama could talk a chick. I got to give credit where credit is due. Objectively, I may not have liked what he left us with after he finessed us. Oh, shoot, he didn't left us with the alphabet community agenda. What the heck was we thinking? Well, it's because this dude can talk a gay woman out of his part of her panties. Honest to God. I said, okay, so I see why he got 8 years, but they tried to make Kamala Barack, and Kamala ain't Barack. I'm going to just tell you, for real, for real. They tried to give us Barack 2.0, and they gave us Barack 0.25. Okay? This guy can talk a gay woman into a menage a trois with two of them at the same time. Listen to him.
Perspective. And that, I think, for me at least, was a good way of getting out of my own head.
Right.
And, you know, I was lucky that Michelle was such an extraordinary mother. And the girls, I think naturally were just happy spirits that, you know, they still love me after all I put them through.
I got to give him some credit. I got to give him some credit. I got to give him some credit. This dude, he knows how to grab the armchairs. You know, Michelle, she was an extraordinary mother. And I got to give him some credit because, you know, they made some sacrifices in order for me to save the world. You know? And we need that sense of reality. I said, okay, Jesus, let me do this in half parts for this thing to have me voting for Kamala Harris. I can't do that. Thank God I already cast my vote. But this is the part that I walked up, you know, up to 36 minutes, and hopefully we can get some substance out of that. Let's see what he got to say.
And, you know, when Donald Trump wasn't even in politics, you have the case of the Central Park Five, where 5 young black kids, teenagers, are accused of beating a woman in Central Park. And he's taking out full-page ads saying they should be put to death. Turns out they were innocent.
Yeah.
When I was president, you know, he essentially got his political lift by suggesting I wasn't born in this country. Didn't matter what birth certificates we have. So you start from the premise that I'm not going to vote for somebody who does not see me as an equal. How's he going to represent me if he does not think that I am worthy of the same kind of representation as his kids are? And
isn't that amazing? So let me tell you what the strategy is. Rock them to sleep, then give them the pill. Rock them to sleep, then give them the pill. So he masterfully, and again, objectively, I have to give him credit for being marketable. Politics, business, women, church, relationships, everything that you can think of is about being marketable. You can have the greatest message in the world or you can have the worst message in the world, but it will not resonate if you do not know how to sell yourself. Y'all need to go and get the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and study it, live it, breathe in it, understand what sales is. Politics is sales. They're selling their give and take. The Art of the Deal by Donald Trump. They're both great in different ways at selling and making sure that they get stuff done or they get people on board to be able to do whatever it is that they want to do from a political perspective or a business perspective. It's a reason why Barack eventually became a millionaire. He didn't become a millionaire just because he became president. He became a millionaire because he understood how to market himself to his demographic, which is why black people look at him as a messiah. And so he's basically selling you with his backstory, which then gives him credibility, especially to people that forgot who he was. And then he's able to then give you the pill. And the pill is not what's best for you economically. Because again, part of what the problem is in the black community is that we look at what people say and their story and how marketable they are, and we don't actually pay attention to what's best for us. Listen, Barack, if you're talking about representation and how do Kamala Harris, who married outside of her race, actually relate to you? If you're talking about representation, then why is it the majority of your policies affected people that didn't even look like you? Again, it's the marketing, rock you to sleep, give you the pill. He's great at selling, not necessarily the best at his agenda. His agenda, his heart, who it is and what it is that he's pushing to the American people is wrong. But the vessel that they're using to do it is phenomenal. And so now they distract you the same way that they've been doing to us, black people, black culture, Democrats in general, women, all across the board, extreme liberals, and they'll say, listen, I'm awesome, and listen to my backstory. And he don't even like you. He don't even represent you. They'll divert away from the facts to then distract you and give you games. And then they'll say, hey, listen, don't pay attention to the immigration. Don't pay attention to what's happening economically. Don't pay attention to the fact that you're getting evicted. Just feel good for this moment so that you can make sure that you get on board. Because they don't even represent you. Their kids aren't like your kids. Your kids ain't like my kids. What you talking about? What you think that Leslie and Malaya or whoever that they are in the same sphere as far as what their experiences are? They aren't. You're not relatable to us. What you think your daughters got the same upbringing? My daughter may have greater moral values. I don't know, based off of what it is that you present yourself as. But neither one of us can relate to their kids. Remove that off of the table and let's have a conversation about what's best for the American people. Because again, a rising tide lifts all boats. So as smooth as he is, let me give you an example.
And then from there, you look at specific issues and you say to yourself, well, this is not a guy who has ever shown that he is particularly interested in communities outside of rich folks and members of his golf country club. And and so I say that not just to black men, I'd say that to working people.
I'm not just resonating with black men, I'm also resonating with working people. Anybody that's picked up a hold on. This guy is good. This guy is good. This guy is good. Honest to God, he's good. He's good. He's good. He's good. He's pretty freaking good. All the way, 100%. Let me see something. Just want to see something really quickly. Because sometimes you got to go to the tape. A lot of times we as sports fans, we like to argue in favor of or against something, but we never really go to the tape, and you got to go to the tape. So let me see something. Obama and his mother moved to Jakarta. So he traveled the world. They returned to Hawaii. He never talks about his experience in Jakarta, but he always talks about that. College years, studied at Occidental College. 1981, he made his first speech calling for Occidental's divestment of South Africa. 1981, traveled to Jakarta to visit his mother and half-sister. Transferred to Columbia in New York, where he majored in political science with a specialty in international relations and English literature. Lived off campus, blah, 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 blah. Worked as a community organizer, taxpayer dollars. He was an instructor, went to law school. I'm trying to figure out where he actually had a real job. Like a job in corporate America, something like that. Because he might have, may not be familiar with it. Married Michelle. Elected as the first African-American president of the Harvard Law Review. Law school, sounds dope. Politics. So what you're telling me is that Obama, he taught law at the University of Chicago Law School for 12 years, as a lecturer for 4 years, a senior lecturer for 8 years. So he did work. Okay, so he had a regular job. I take that back. He joined Davis, Minor, and Barnhill, a 12-attorney law firm specializing in civil rights litigation and neighborhood economic development, where he was an associate for 3 years, 1993 through 1996. Okay. So he was a full-time lawyer, involved in 30 cases, accrued 3,700 billable hours. Where did they get this information from? We're just going to assume that it's right. We're going to assume that it's right. All right, let's continue over to the interview.
Here's a guy who built his business where he was stories at him, they couldn't do nothing about it. That's his orientation. That's his starting point. And so now, what I'll hear from some brothers is,
all right. So this is the good part. This is where he talked to the brothers. Let me rewind it. Let's start it from the back. All right, y'all ready?
Now, what I'll hear from some brothers is, well, you know, I got a check during the pandemic. And then I've got to explain to them, well, actually, you got a check from Biden too during the pandemic. It's just he didn't put his name on it.
Yeah.
He wasn't self-promoting. During the financial crisis in 2008, 2009, I gave you guys relief, and I just didn't put my name on it. So sometimes it's necessary to clear up information. People will say, well, you know, prices went up. I remember those first 2 years when Trump was president, it seemed like prices were lower, and so I had more money in my pocket. And I've got to say, yeah, the economy was good because that was my economy that I just handed off to him. So the first 2 years, he was benefiting from all the work we had done for 8 years, cleaning things up. So don't be fooled by that. So it's a combination of specific issues, but maybe more important is what are the values and the character of the people who are running? And
so what he's trying to say is that it was his economy. Okay. So by that measure, should we attribute the first 2 years of the Obama economy to Bush? Okay, I got you. So let's continue down that path. So when Trump handed off the economy and inflation was at a record low of 1.2%, and then it ballooned afterwards after 2 years. So in 2022 and 2023, after Trump had been left office for over a year and a half and 2 years, and the inflation exploded, who do we attribute that part to? Because he gave them record low unemployment, record wage growth. He gave them tariffs that they kept in place that ultimately saved the steel industry and American manufacturing. He gave them record low unemployment for black people. And then Obama gave stimulus checks, but then at the same time, he don't want to credit Trump with being able to make sure that he kept the economy humming with stimulus checks and record low interest rates, which then allow for people to buy the homes that they have. And they don't want to move out of the homes that they have right now because they don't want to take on more loans at a higher interest rate that is around 7%. And so you don't want to attribute the successes that Trump had to him. So did Trump have any successes, or is it only because of you? So him lowering the tax rate, which affected everybody and allowed for corporations to bring the majority of their revenue back here from overseas, which caused the federal government to have record revenue from corporations, that's not his own policy. That's not him continuing to drive the American economy and be successful, and everybody was running up a bag and getting homes and being great and all of that stuff. Listen, they're pitching to you propaganda. They're pitching to you why black people need to stay on code with voting for Kamala Harris, and they're using their smoothest criminal to be able to do so in Barack Hussein Obama. I got to give Democrats a record round of applause for doing so. He's just talking. But if you're not careful, he'll talk you into a trance, and then all of a sudden you'll be voting for him. Let me read a few of these super chats, and then we're going to continue on with the show. I told y'all it was going to be an interesting show today. Jay Loon on the track, video production says, ready for Let's Rant About It. Got the meet and greet ticket, ready to see you, Rita, your car, Randy, and the other chasers. Shout out to the people that's going to be in the show. Make sure y'all get y'all tickets. Link is in the description. Discount code Anton. Barack Buffer class Obama go home. That's what Ray says. Maurice Maddox says, the great one speaks. You were touched by the great KS today. Thank God I joined everything. You were under all them celebs running to them Democrats for forgiveness. Shout out to you, Maurice. Calvin is in the building, says, I purposely told a few people that I wanted to exit my life that I was voting red, just so they would move on. Thank you. I so appreciate you tremendously. Finally, a black king with sense. What up, Shonda? I'm cooking. I'm a talking. He was a smooth operator, Big A. Yeah, he'll talk you out of it. Senior P is in the building, says Obama shadowed Harry Lennox to learn black swag. Hillary Clinton started the birther talk in 2015. Hey, remember Obama tried to give us Hillary? We're going to attribute that to you too, dog, big dog. Diamato Cooper says, sure, he can just talk just like the servant talked to the garden out of Eden and the Eve, introduced them to, yes, he is just like, yes, I agree with you 100%. You all call him Barack, I call him Barry. I will have an order of Trump fries and no Kamala lies, please. Aaron L. says, Kamala say the economy was bad for 10 years. Connie Harris says, watch Benny Johnson's video of Fulton County GA handing out MAGA hats. Not one black man mentioned STEMI checks. A lot of them were entrepreneurs. Shout out to my girl, Connie. Shout out to you, baby girl. Keyshawn White says, we going to hit the Trump dance when we win. King Will in the building says, the government was grooming Barack Obama. You can definitely see it. We see it. We see it. We see it. But let's continue on with the show. Let's talk about this economy, for example, and what you guys honestly need to be aware of, because we got to get to the money talk in addition to the politics, in addition to knowing where the money come back down to. We have to help you to understand what you can look forward to if Trump wins versus if Kamala wins, and if Kamala wins versus if Trump wins. And I seen something that popped up on my algorithm that I wanted to share with you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. But it's how China backdoors the United States of America to ultimately manufacture its cars in Mexico in order to make sure that they can get it through into the United States, and then make sure that they destroy American manufacturing facilities, including the steel industry and the automotive industry. Check it out.
On this road in El Paso, Texas, stretching as far as the eye can see, thousands of trucks make their way back to Mexico after dropping billions of dollars worth of goods bound for U.S. consumers.
This is a scene that you see every day. Millions of dollars of product are coming in from Mexico into the United States.
For the first time in more than 2 decades, Mexico overtook China as the largest importer of goods to the U.S. Mexican goods imported to the U.S. totaled $475 billion in 2023, about $20 billion higher than the previous year. During that same period, Chinese goods imported to the U.S. came to $427 billion, $110 billion less than the year prior, and imports from Mexico are still climbing. In the first 8 months of this year, U.S. imports from Mexico reached $334 billion, 5.8% higher than the same period in 2023. Fueling that trend are simmering trade tensions between Beijing and Washington, an effort to bring U.S. imports closer to home, and a burgeoning Mexican manufacturing base. But there's another factor at play. To avoid American tariffs, Chinese companies are using Mexico as a backdoor to the U.S.
Why do you think it was so important for Trump to do two things at the same time? And a lot of people may not be familiar with this, but I'm going to educate you. So again, you can combat all of these people that's just throwing random things out there, and you can actually hit them with facts. When Trump was in office, not only did he institute tariffs against China in order to level the playing field and also bring manufacturing back to the United States of America, he had to do a second thing at the same time. And what did he do? He renegotiated the North American Free Trade Agreement to make a level playing field with both Mexico and China, with an emphasis on Mexico. Well, Anton, why was that important? Well, not only was they importing cheap goods over in Mexico, but he knew way back in 2016, 17, and 18 that even if you put tariffs on China in order to level the playing field because they were still in our proprietary technology, while at the same time, if you wanted to do business in Mexico, or if you wanted to do business over in China, you had to do a 50-50 partnership, and you had to fund it, and you had to have your proprietary technology to be shared with China, Chinese companies, and the Chinese government, while allowing for them to manufacture your products and knock it off at a cheaper price and rebrand it. And then you had a temporary space there, and then they was going to kick you out of the country, and they was going to outmarket you, subsidize it with Chinese consumer products. Even BYD, Build Your Dreams, the electric manufacturing company that y'all keep begging for to come over here to the United States of America, is subsidized by the federal government over in China. So what Trump understood was he had to not only make sure that he had this tariffs that was instituted and left in place largely by the Biden administration, the Biden-Harris administration. But what he also had to do was renegotiate the North American Free Trade Agreement. Wow, what that did was it leveled the playing field all across the board while seeking concessions and winning concessions from Mexico, which China is now trying to circumvent by skipping the tariff process and then going over to Mexico and passing their products through there up through the United States of America and even manufacturing a lot of their products right there in Mexico itself. That's why when Trump was on Bloomberg and he was talking about all of the auto plants that was being built over in Mexico, that's exactly what he was talking about. And so while you're sitting there and saying, well, goods is going to cost us more. No, it's not. Wage growth is going to go up. Jobs are going to come back to the United States of America, and companies are going to have to invest into America instead of just pushing all of their products and taking all of our profits and taking it back to their countries. And so he had to do both. Institute the tariffs, level the playing field, while at the same time renegotiating the North American Free Trade Agreement. But they don't teach you this in school. They don't have these conversations on Twitter. They don't have these conversations on Instagram. They don't have these conversations on YouTube and TikTok because people are speaking out of ignorance. So while Obama in the last clip was trying to convince you guys to make sure that you get on code because your kids can't identify with his kids, meanwhile, they're in the background enabling Chinese companies to be able to bring their products in the United States of America and circumvent and also killing the manufacturing industry here in the United States of America, which is one of the reasons why Stellantis is laying off all of the employees and they're building all of their plants over in Mexico. They're not building new Rams and new plants and redistributing products over here in the United States of America and retooling so that they can manufacture it here. They're not. They're building it in Mexico and they're importing it here. They're building them in Mexico and then they're importing them here. And so you're doing the same thing that Clinton did. You selling out the American future of your children in order for you to get a couple little dollars off of whatever the product is that you want that you probably shouldn't even be buying anyway because you can't afford it. And you're only doing it to keep up with the Joneses and impress people that don't even care nothing about you. But that is how basically Chinese firms are using Mexico to skip the tariffs that Biden left in place, that Trump instituted, in order to make sure that they feed y'all cheap products that's probably not even best for you.
With what you're moving within Mexico itself, the finished product, how much of those Chinese goods actually stay in Mexico, and how much roughly do you think those Chinese products come here to the United States?
I think there's a huge market for Chinese product in Mexico, but the big ticket item here is the US market. That's why China's coming to Mexico.
What we're trying to do is bring stuff from all over the world to Mexico, manufacture here, and send it again abroad.
Chinese car companies, for example, are setting up shop in Mexico. Tariffs on Chinese goods date back to 2018 when the Trump administration launched a trade war with China. To take advantage of the Mexican trade,
y'all gonna learn to listen to me instead of listening to these celebrity speakers that cannot identify with you and don't even know they right from they left.
Companies like Maersk, DHL, and Uber Freight are ramping up their investments on both sides of the border.
Companies are coming to Texas. It's a wild, wild west where they are buying up land to secure warehouse space.
At the center of it all is U.S. Customs and Border Protection, one of the world's largest law enforcement agencies with over 60,000 employees.
We will do a complete inspection on it, from instruments of terror to narcotics to country of origin to manifest discrepancies, everything.
More than 650,000 cargo trucks crossed the Isleta-Zaragoza Bridge in El Paso, Texas in 2022. So how is China able to circumvent U.S. tariffs? And what are logistics companies doing to prepare for the upcoming boom in Mexican trade? CNBC traveled to Mexico City and El Paso to find out. In an effort to avoid U.S. tariffs, Chinese companies are moving their raw materials and operations to Mexico. Jordan Dewart is the president of Cross-Border Logistics Company.
So what y'all don't understand is that they need us more than we need them. They need us more than we need them, which means that we have all of the leverage. And why are we allowing for them to dictate what happens inside of the United States of America? Why do we have a trade deficit with the majority of these countries instead of using the leverage of the American dollar and the purchasing power of American consumers to determine how we want things to happen inside of the United States of America? If you want goods and services to be here for U.S. consumers, if you want to do business here, then you have to manufacture, assemble, and sell it and reinvest into the American infrastructure. That's what you have to do. You have to build it here and sell it here. And the reason that they build it in Mexico and sell it here is because they know that you are willing to sell out your own country just to make sure you get some cheap goods that's not even going to be able to stand the test of time.
Company Redwood, Mexico. In addition to this 100,000 square foot warehouse in El Paso, the company also has about 200 employees in Mexico.
How has the landscape changed since the start of the Trump trade war when it comes to Chinese manufacturing?
Well, it's no secret there was a lot of pressure on Chinese companies after those trade wars. And I think we saw immediately an opportunity for Chinese companies to move to Mexico to kind of catch this nearshoring wave.
Ocean container data tracked by freight analytics firms and NADA backs that up.
We have seen 18 months in a row now with ever increasing, basically all-time high monthly imports from China to Mexico.
Container traffic from China to Mexico has surged in recent years. From January to August 2024, China to Mexico container trade was up by 22% from the year prior. That's on top of container trade along the same route in 2023, up 33% from 2022. At the same time, China's container trade to the U.S. has slowed down.
You see an ever-growing trend into Mexico. I think that's pretty clear to me that something is going on here. Someone is preparing for something, and it's not all going into Mexico consumers.
VesselBot, which also tracks container flows, shows the 3-month period from April to June recorded the highest volumes of Mexico exports to the U.S. this year. The North American Free Trade Agreement, implemented in 1994, eliminated most tariffs between the three countries. The United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, or USMCA, which replaced NAFTA, went into effect 4 years ago. The agreement is up for renewal in 2026, and a focal point of those talks is expected to be trade with China.
Chinese companies, if they import directly into the United States, they are faced with tariffs. If they bring their goods into Mexico and those goods are improved upon or some value added to them, they then qualify for the USMCA.
In terms of what you have to do to have a product that's labeled Mexican as opposed to Chinese in origin, you have to substantially transform it, which means it has to become a different product. So if I get a whole set of wooden boards, I turn that into a desk, I have substantially transformed that product. It has to change customs categories.
Changing a product's economic nationality or origin of goods means it can swap a Made in China label to a Made in Mexico one. And
oh, man. My people perish because of a lack of knowledge. My people perish because they so focus on what's in front of them instead of what's happening all around them. My people perish because they are forced to stay on code instead of being educated on what's happening. And y'all don't even realize how much this man has saved y'all from yourselves. With what he seen was coming, and he basically put in place the thing that then the Biden and Harris administration, at the very least, is benefiting off of in their own administration today, and it's unfortunate. It's so unfortunate, and y'all not even paying attention.
An estimated $3.7 billion of Chinese foreign direct investments was made in Mexico in 2023, significantly higher than the previous decades. The Hafusan Industrial Park, 25 miles north of Monterrey, Mexico, is one example of that investment and is now home to at least 30 Chinese firms. In the past 3 years, 9 Chinese car companies, including BYD and Chery, have set up operations in Mexico.
What are you moving within Mexico? Is it more components to manufacturing plants?
I think Chinese companies, when they established themselves in Mexico, they were bringing finished goods in. Now they've moved on to raw materials, component parts.
Backdoor has a connotation that they're doing something wrong. Just because you see a Mexican manufacturer using Chinese inputs does not mean that they're violating any rules of origin.
Simon Cohen is the founder and CEO of Henco, a logistics company that got its start in Monterrey, Mexico in 1998.
The facility that we have behind us, it's one of the 6 facilities that we have in Mexico City. What we do here is we receive raw materials and finished goods from abroad. We tag them, we label them, we pack them, we repack them, and we deliver it to the distribution centers or final consumer.
The company has about 1,000 employees, and in addition to its facilities in Mexico City, it has 2 others in Monterrey and another 2 coming online later this year. Roughly 20 to 30% of the goods here are shipped to the U.S., according to Cohen.
The north part of Mexico is getting invaded with foreign investment, and people are coming from all over the world, from Asia, from Europe, from South America, even from Africa, and they are trying to build plants and manufacturing facilities to enter the United States market.
Not only are the Chinese setting up shop in
Enter the United States market.
You see that? You see what you're going to be driving? You see where it's manufactured from? You see where they assemble it at? And you see where they shipping it into? Trump was not lying when he sat on Bloomberg and he told y'all what these massive plants and these massive factories are being built for over in Mexico. It's to sell the products to you. Shout out to Philip Jackson. He said, put this in a pot for some new jeans. Philip, you always looking out for your boy and you always taking care of me. I appreciate you, big dog. Thank you for always holding me down. Let me read a few more super chats and I'm going to get y'all up out of here for the day. Before I do so, let me just tell you guys, I appreciate you. I love you. If you have not already, make sure you tap into the Patreon. We have some phenomenal things right after the show that we got coming up on Friday or on Saturday up in Atlanta. We got Stock Club, and I got new videos that's being released for you guys, and then we got Block Club right after that. Teach Hanley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. And get your tickets to come and kick it with me in Atlanta and Detroit with discount code Anton. That is down in the description. We got some great things that's on the way. I put together a budget of about $100,000 that I'm investing into my studios, into upgraded equipment, into making better videos, and to making more things for you guys, and to give you more games so that you guys will have an even greater experience on the Patreon and even on these shows. So your subscriptions, your likes, and your love is very much appreciated, and I absolutely thank y'all for always continuing to ride for me and ride for what it is that we do. And I'm dedicated to making sure that I add value into what we got going on here so that we can compete on the greatest level. And then ultimately we're gonna overtake the biggest shows, and that's what we're gonna focus on, and that's what we're trending towards. Up and forward, all right? Let me read some of these super chats, and then we're gonna continue on with the show. In December and January, I'm spending $100,000 on retransforming everything. So what you see today is gonna be completely different from what you see tomorrow. New to the show, what's the story behind? Go and get you a Nate. I don't think you're new to the show. All right, so a Nate is, and set it off, when Stoney, who was Jada Pinkett, was looking for money and she was broke, and she was like, I'm in a bind, Nate. I'm in a bind. And he was like, oh, we can fix that. If you don't know, go and watch it and you'll know what that means when it say go and get you a Nate, all right? Enforcer 2K9 says, wait, so if Mexico has all of these manufacturing jobs from China, why are they still trying to immigrate here? Looks to have an opportunity. Listen, it's deep. I'll have to break all of that down. Maybe I'll do it on a Friday show. Jay Ben says, Don Tavius, Jamal Trump 24, bread rhymes with red for a reason. Vote for your pockets, not her pee. Blue is for folks who don't have a clue. Bad getters. Shout out to the getters and the chasers. 67 Big Mel says, AD, they did that with the Ford F-150 in China, and Ford couldn't sue them in their country. They stole their technology. Sub-Zero says, lived in Cali for 28 years to 2021. Anton is 100% correct. The Dems in Cali have also been a part of all of this, as the Cali Department of Agriculture bans all fruit and vegetables east of Colorado, but allows it in from Mexico. Jermaine Sewell is in the building. Shout out to Jermaine, I appreciate you. Says, essentially, Trump will incorporate protectionism tariffs that are designed to protect manufacturing, which has been in contradiction. Kudos to Anton. Thank you, Jermaine. Wizzy says, you're the truth, AD. Keep it up. Thank you. I appreciate you. DJ Ace Productions says, AD, proud of you, homie. You provide an informative platform. I got to get the people what they need. Give yourselves a round of applause for making it through this show again. Again, we do this every Monday through Friday in the morning, the greatest morning show on earth. Send this to your family and friends. If you have been here more than 2 times, make sure you subscribe so that you get a notification when we go live. And then more importantly, make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Teach Hanley, again, thank you to the sponsor of our show. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you later. Peace.